This is Tyrese Halliburton, and you're listening to Setting the Pace.
What is up, Pacer Nation? Welcome back to another episode here of your go-to Pacers podcast, and we are answering your mailbag question today. It is part 2 of the mailbag, and joining me is the mailman himself. It is Michael J. Facci. Facci, how's it going?
Got a satchel of mail on me, and I'm ready to read it. All right. Satchel. I believe that's what the mailman call it. So plenty of mail today, and I'm ready to get to reading.
Alrighty, so we've got about 5 questions for today's episode, and I'll let you decide. Do you want to go first? Do you want me to go first?
I'll go first. All right, so first question. He's as faithful as they get. It's the man, the myth, the legend, Rooster.
Cockadoodle dude.
Cockadoodle dude. What do you think the path is to next season's starting center? Is it IJax, trade for Kessler, or who else? This year's first-round pick?
This is probably the $1 million question that we're going to be talking about for a long time. I want to give IJax more time to develop this season before I completely rule him out. I think we've seen some progress the last couple of games from him. Did not love his game against the Nets. Thought it was okay. Him and Lloyd Pierce apparently got into it a little bit. I don't really know what happened there in the fourth. Somebody said they were yelling at each other. I didn't see anything like that, so it doesn't really seem like Isaiah's character to yell at a coach, but I don't know exactly. It's a learning process for him. I think he's a great backup. Don't think he's a long-term answer at center. The Walker Kessler thing, when I saw he was shooting threes, Foch, and he was making them, I might have got a little excited. I was like, this is exciting news, but he just went down with a shoulder injury that's going to keep him out for the season.
Sure.
So he won't play another game. It's like even future Pacers are getting hurt, Foch. So it's like,
true.
I don't know what to say.
Nice things. Anyone that we're even interested in or think about is going down with an injury. It's just terrible.
Yeah. So here's how I see it. Like I think Walker Kessler makes a lot of sense. I think he would be nice. I know people are really sold on Quenton Jackson Jr., and it's a name I brought up a couple of years ago that I liked. I know I've been more on the Bam train right now, but if I know the Grizzlies are saying they believe they can win with Ja and Quenton Jackson Jr. and they're not tanking and this, that, and that. But if Ja Morant leaves and they get, pennies on the dollar for what his value is supposed to be, what do the Grizzlies do? And if the Pacers can say, look, we'll give you this first-round pick we have this year, plus salary to match to get Quenton Jackson Jr., it's going to probably be hard to turn down. Now, do I think the Pacers want to just give up that pick if it's a top 3 pick? Probably not, but if it falls somewhere after the top 3 and it's like 4 to 10, I think it's more tradable at that point.
Yeah, it's not a bad idea. Look, I think to your first part, give IJax a little bit more time. We've seen some highs, we've seen some lows. Looked really good against Milwaukee. It was awesome to see. I don't think that's ever going to be him consistently. I think IJax is a real good backup center in this league. That's what I see. I don't think he's the answer. Walker Kessler, the fact that he's out for the year, sure, does that make him more available? Yeah, probably. But that complicates so much in terms of what do you pay for him? What's his trade value like now? It's unfortunate. I think for Utah, they, not to say got greedy, but it sounded like they didn't want to sign him to an extension. And now they unfortunately probably missed out on their window to get real value for him. So who knows what happens with that? But I think if the Pacers end up not having a good season, they do pick top 5, top 10. I do think you can find a good center in this draft. Now, it's way too early to know who's available at center in this draft or anything like that, but that could be an option for the Pacers to have a center under cost control for the next few years, and maybe your center rotation is a center making like $5 million, from the draft, and IJax at 7. You got $12 million committed there. I guess maybe J Huff's your third string center at that point. 2 to 3 million. You have $14 to $15 million committed to the center position while you develop a guy that could be the center here for a long time. So you're on the other route of hey, swing big, Quenton Jackson Jr. I think that'd be awesome. I wouldn't complain about it one bit, but obviously, yeah, it's gonna take some resources. I think if Indiana could find a center with a top 10 pick, if that's what happens and the season goes to crap, I think it's a pretty good option to be cost effective while you still need to pay a Mathurin and you have plenty of other salaries on the books.
My whole thing with the pick, it's you might not even have to trade this year's. You could trade future picks though. You could trade 27 and 29. You could trade 28 and 30 if you need to do the double picks and pick swaps and all that stuff for future stuff. If you feel like you really like the position you're in it to get a player in this year's draft and you don't think a center's worth it, then don't do it. I mean, get the young talent that you like, especially if you feel like, okay, like let's just look at it from this perspective. Let's say they land the number 1 overall pick, okay? And Darren Peterson is one of the best guard prospects we've seen in a long, long time.
Here.
If he's there, that obviously means that, okay, that backcourt is crowded. Someone's got to go. It seems like Mathurin would be the number 1 option to go based on his contract, what he would want. And I think trade value-wise, he might have the most trade value out of anybody because you can give him a new contract and it can be for X amount of years, where you've already got Nembhard, who's already started his extension, right? And then Nesmith, I don't think he really moves the needle as much as those other two do because he's not one that can really put the ball on the floor as much and score as easy as those two can. So then at that point, you're thinking, okay, if we get the number 1 overall pick and we get Darren Peterson on a rookie deal for the next 4 years, our window's now to maybe go spin a little bit bigger. Maybe you do package some stuff with Mathurin plus future picks to go out there and get a guy like a Jaren Jackson Jr. But if you fall to like 5 to 10 Facci in the draft and you still like somebody, like how much is Nick Claxton from the Nets going to cost you? How much is Jalen Duren from the Pistons going to cost you to go out there and get? Like, could you snag him away from Detroit? Could you do a double sign and trade? Mathurin for Jalen Duren. Could you go out there and get Nikola Vucevic, who's having a really good season with the Bulls, on a 1-year deal? Huh?
Yeah, exactly.
On like a 1 or 2 year deal.
That's what I'm saying. Like something like that on a 1-year deal. If it's like a 1 year, $15 million deal, something like that, it is appealing until you figure this out. So I just don't think that you need to go all in on center and push all the chips in. But I do think that Indiana has options based on some players that they could move, or they own all their own draft picks and things like that. So I think it's going to be something that's figured out. But I think that for right now, like I don't know if you need to like trade the farm for someone, but we'll have to wait and see. I think everything should be on the table though, because if Indiana, what if they can be sellers at the deadline and they do pick up a few more picks or assets or anything of the sort, that does make them more dangerous in the offseason.
Yeah. I'm looking at the Sporting News' rankings here of power forwards heading into the 24-25 season last year. Maybe my opinion would change based on this year, but they had Zion ahead of Pascal. What world are we living in? Why is Zion Williamson ranked above Pascal in anything? Yeah,
that's just hype. That's all. I think you just see the name Zion, it still packs a punch, but what Pascal does on a nightly basis is just way more consistent and geared towards winning.
Yeah, and we'll definitely talk more about that point guard or that power forward position, but right now we're gonna leave that one there. So Facci, let's keep it moving here. Our next question from Rooster, he said, which NBA team has the dumbest fan base and why is it the Bucks?
Yeah, I mean, it's hard to argue that. I mean, the Bucks are the Bucks, but I mean, it's either the Bucks or the Knicks. I'd say so. I mean, I saw something the other day. It was just kind of comical. The Knicks played Minnesota, and Jalen Brunson went down. Dante DiVincenzo, who's best friends with Jalen Brunson, college teammates, former teammates, and they goes to help him up. And a bunch of Knicks players like go in and they like make sure he doesn't pick him up. And it's like, okay, guys, it's like literally his best friend. So the Knicks fan base, you can't tell them anything. They always got something to say, no matter how many times we beat them. So it's between those two franchises.
I would say without a doubt it's Milwaukee, because the Knicks, they shut up when they get beat, right? Like they were really annoying the first year because they were all hurt. But this last year, they had nothing to say. They were just like, crap, we got beat, and we got beat pretty handily, and we were healthy. So I think that they were a little bit more rational than Bucks fans, because anytime, like anything you see from a Bucks fan, all it ever is a picture of Halliburton on the ground with screaming after the Achilles tear.
Yep.
They go with that one now because they were probably like praying so hard that the Thunder won the championship. They would not be able to handle it if the Pacers won a ring, because that's the only thing they have to defend what they have. They're just like, oh, well, you guys never won a ring. We've got two. And I'm like, okay. Everything has to come back to ring culture for this Bucks fan base. They're hanging on what Giannis did once in the last 5 years. It's like you're talking about you've had a MVP level player on your team for the last 15 years. You've had one championship. Let's pump the brakes, okay? Your franchise is not that great. You've made it to one NBA Finals. Won. And you played a much worse team in the Phoenix Suns than the Pacers played in the Oklahoma City Thunder. And they were up 2-0 on you. So, like, let's okay. Like, you won it. We'll give it to you. But they're delusional, man. If delusion was a drug, I mean, my God, they're all addicted. I cannot say enough things about the Bucks fans. Like, I just don't engage with them. They're all annoying. And the rage bait, they flock to everything. I mean, all the Bucks accounts talk about Halliburton still. It's like he hadn't even played this year. Like, they're so obsessed with the Pacers. It's so funny. Like, they think that the Pacer fans are obsessed with them. No, they're obsessed with the Pacers. And it's like, you know, the fact that Giannis hits the game winner and he's doing the whole boo thing. We talked about that. And he's getting all hyped. And there's people saying like he was staring down John Halliburton wanting to start something. I'm like, if Giannis is taking this little matchup with the Pacers so seriously and so personal, then you can't say stuff about the Pacers not being relevant because they've clearly beaten you so many times. And playoffs aside, even when they had a healthy roster 2 years ago, we kicked your butt. Dan Miller had nothing on the Pacers.
Get 8 guys out and took a game winner, a Giannis game winner over 2 players just to win. Like, we're in their heads. We are.
Yes.
It's definitely a rivalry. It is, but we've got the better end of the rivalry.
Did you see the tweet from JJ, not Jeremiah Johnson, but JJ Indy? She posted after the Bucks beat the Pacers, they got beat by like 28 points to the Raptors. Mm-hmm. And she just quote tweeted it and said, Super Bowl hangover.
Yeah, that's great. That's good. That's good.
It got like 2,000 likes, and the amount of comments in there were just all Bucks. It was like,
oh, wow.
F you this, F you that. Where's your ring at? F you, where's your ring? Oh, yeah, nice championship ring, huh? I'm like, okay. That when all you can ever do is argue ring culture, you have no argument.
I know. And like, I think even they did win. They did. But I think even Bucks fans know, like, you're not making it back to another NBA Finals. And you know what? Hey, maybe the Pacers don't. I don't know, but like, you can't make it seem like the Bucks are like, oh, where's your ring? Like, as if they're like, I don't know, like the Dodgers, and they're winning all these championships. It's like the Pacers, like you said before, in terms of OKC being better. OKC is probably could have been the best team that in the last, I don't know, 7 years or so. Like, that's what the Pacers ran into. Like, they ran into an all elite defense, like the best defense I think a team's seen probably since like the Warriors of 10 years ago, something of that sort. So that Suns team fizzled out right after that and just evaporated. But I think overall, I think we spent enough time on this. I'd say the Bucks, Knicks right behind them.
Yeah, Facci, you know what I'm going to say to this? If you're watching on YouTube, Facci, are you watching me?
Yeah, I am. Yeah. Yeah. Exactly. Yep. The mime closing it. Of Turner. That's
We're done talking about the Bucks on this podcast till we play them next. All right, let's get to the next question. You're up, Pacer Faithful.
All right. Actually, yeah. Sorry, this was a 2-parter from Rooster. I forgot. All right, Pacer Faithful said, and Chuck and Jamie, we appreciate you. Give us your percentage odds for each scenario. Number 1, Mathurin is re-signed for next year. Do you want to start with that, and then
let's just do them together. We'll do them together. I will say this is tough. I'm going to say 40%.
Oh wow. Okay, I'm going to say 75%.
You think he's re-signed?
Yeah, I mean, we'll see what happens with his injury and that. But like, I think you could always trade him afterwards. But it's such a valuable asset that, like, I don't know. I think there's so much that remains to be seen. But like, he played 2 games. He averaged 31 points per game.
He was phenomenal.
He was awesome. And I just feel like right now you look at how bad this team looks and you're like, kind of want to see a little bit more of that. So I'm just going to say 75. I can't go any higher than that because I think it's there's still so much to remain to be seen.
It kind of feels, and I might have already said this. I mean, when you talk all the time, you forget what you say, but it does kind of feel like the Miles stuff, like where it always kind of felt like, oh, he might not be here. He's not a great fit. Like, what's his fit next to Sabonis? What's his fit here? What's his fit there? Like, is he on the trade block? That could be Mathurin. That could be Mathurin with this Pacers team, and all of a sudden we're talking 10 years with Ben Mathurin on the roster. I mean, that could be kind of how this all plays out. You just never know. I mean,
never know.
It's crazy. I mean, so me to say, wow, 75%, you were surprised at my 40. I was surprised at your 75. So I almost said 50, but I was like, I'm going to go I got to pick one side. That feels like right in the middle, which is not fair. So.
Yeah, no, I'm going to stick with 75. I hope it works out. Number 2, IJax remains a starter for next year.
I like these questions, by the way. I'll let you go first this time.
20 20%.
Okay, I was thinking 25. So we're in the same boat.
You can't say 0. You just can't. But you can't. It's hard to imagine that it just all works out. So I'm going to say 20% to give him a chance.
Okay. All right, next question.
Next question. Q gets a standard contract.
This is a tough one. I'm going to say 55%.
Okay. I'm going to stick with 75 before. I just think that they like him. They like him. I mean, I debated 80, but it's like, all right, I'll just say 75 just because it seems like an easier number in terms of that. Like, I just think that they like him. He's deserving of it. I would like for it to work out. They still have a lot of guards. They got to figure that out. But, like, it would almost be, not to say, like, sad, but it would be unfortunate if, like, he left, but I know that he would leave to sign a standard contract somewhere in the league. I would be happy for him, but I would like it to be with Indiana.
The only reason I said 55 and not a higher percentage is like I still think it likely gets done if push comes to shove, but I also fear that with Cam Jones being on the roster, with them drafting Taylon Peter, with them already having Tyrese, Nembhard, McConnell, they bring Mathurin back, like where is the guard room at for him? You know what I mean? And that's like, you want to play Furphy, you got Shepard. You just go through the list. It's like a lot of guys. There are a lot of guys that are not playing that will be ahead of him in the rotation when they come back. So it's like, sure, if he'd be okay with being insurance, but if there's a team out there that can give him an opportunity to like be a backup somewhere else, I don't know why he wouldn't take it.
Yeah, I just think that he's standard contract material. I would love for it to be with the Pacers. I would say that there's I can't say 100% for anything, but there should be 100% chance that he's on a standard deal, but we just don't know if it'll be with Indiana. I really hope. So the question said, Q gets a standard contract. So if we want to say gets a standard contract in the league, I'm going to say 100%. 75% with Indiana.
Yeah, I don't think he's eligible for another two-way deal.
No, he's not. This is it. And it would be a crime for him not to be signed.
He'll get one. He'll get a standard contract. Now, if you're saying with the Pacers, that's different.
Yeah. All right, number 4 out of 5. Lot over here. The Pacers make the playoffs. These 5-part questions are always like, man.
But this is a good segment.
It is good. It is good. But
never. Chuck and Jamie, never be afraid to send in 5-part questions. Facci just likes to complain because he can't keep up with more than one question at a time. So it's not a you thing. It's a Facci thing. So want to make sure our listeners know that. But you were saying the Pacers make the playoffs. Percentages of that happening. It's not looking good right now, Facci. 30%.
Yeah, I was thinking around 30%. I guess I'll just say that because the alternative is 25%. It's not looking good. So
yeah, 1-7 it's a very hard hole to get out of, especially when you're looking at this West Coast road trip. Like if you're 1-11 at the end of it,
I just don't know how you really recovered. I mean, you would have to go on a tear at one point, like a legit tear, where like
Toppin.
Yeah, like Obi Toppin's not coming back. You still don't know how long it's going to be for Mathurin and McConnell. You would like to imagine Nembhard's close, but like even then, it's hard. It's almost like it's not hard to imagine this team going on a span where they could go like, I don't know, say like 15-5, but they could do that at some point. But like short term, yeah, how big of a hole is it going to be if they're literally, like you said, 1-9, 1-10, 2-12, something like that? I just don't know how you can get back to 500-ish ball.
All right, Facci, last one here.
Last one. Turner finishes his career on, quote, that team.
Well, we just closed the chapter, so we got to flip back to open this one back up to answer it. I'm just going to say 1%.
Yeah, I'm going to say 0. And never say never, but I just, come on. We could all see this. Yeah, you could already see this writing on the wall. Someone, I think it was Cammy. Cammy tweeted out, he said something like, do stats really matter if they're winning? To an extent, yeah. You can't pay a man $26 million with Giannis's career on the with the Bucks, like on the fringe, and he's averaging 9-6, shooting like having a career worst year. So yeah, it's winning when they're 8 games into the season. But overall, if the Bucks just finished as the season as like it took a step backwards and you got $20+ million of dead cap space from Dame, and then you got Miles at $26 million over here, Giannis is gonna look at this and say, man, this team's dried up. Like,
Yep.
this isn't good. So I think overall, the fit's not going to be there long term. If Giannis leaves, I think Miles will be a contract that they're looking to dump.
It's going to be interesting to see what that team looks like in 4 to 5 years. We got to remember Turner's 29. Like, he could play another 5, 6, 7 years, right? 6, 7. And, well, Facci can't handle the 6, 7 jokes. It's just funny watching him every time I say it. Like, he's just like, I'm so lost. But I will just say, like, depending on how long his career is, like, even if that contract's over with Milwaukee, who says he resigns there? Like, he could go somewhere else. He could look to maybe ring chase a little bit at the end of his career. Maybe he goes back to Dallas, right? Maybe he goes out to the Lakers finally, gets to play with Luke. I mean, there's a lot of different options. And, like, I think one of the other things, too, is, like, he might not have to have a significant payday at that point. When his next contract's up, he could just be looking to kind of be like an Al Horford. Good paycheck, but not great. Find a team that's trying to win. You know, I mean, at that point, he might not even be close to what he is now, but he could still rim protect, hopefully, and still hit threes. Like, serviceable. I mean, whatever you think about Miles, you can think about Miles, but I'm just saying, like, in terms of, like, his long-term fit with the Bucks, I mean, it's really hard to envision him on that team, like, retiring a Buck. I just can't see that.
No, I can't see it either. I just
I think they would move off of him before he would be ready to retire too.
Oh yeah. No, exactly. I just think that if Giannis leaves, they look at, okay, you know what? We actually don't own our picks. We need to start fresh. We need to dump some contracts. And I feel like the Miles contract would be one that they would be looking to dump, even though it comes with a 15% trade kicker, which is, you know, not too appealing. And you know, I think that his play's got to pick it up. I think if the Bucks are winning, sure, that sugarcoats a lot, and maybe it's all right short term, but I don't see them being like a great team. So winning fuels a lot in this league.
All right, Facci, we're going to get to our last question here. We have 2 questions here from Paulo, but the first question we kind of already discussed it on our Friday episode last week, so I'm just going to touch on it really quick, answer it, and then move on to the next one. So Paulo's first question is, why give McClung a multi-year contract instead of a 10-day contract? The guy played 2 minutes against the Bucks and none at all against the Nets. Ray J and Peters seem to be ahead of him in the rotation, so why? The front office looks lost. No, the thing is, the front office is not lost. Trust me. They know this. They know how to work the system very well. They weren't eligible, number one, for 10-day hardship exceptions at the time. So they couldn't get him on a 10-day hardship. If they could have, they probably would have just done that. Okay? So that's the first thing. They weren't eligible to use those 10-day contracts to bring him in. Secondly, they already have the other players on two-way contracts. So you couldn't sign McClung to a 2-way deal because he wasn't eligible, which means that the only place they could have put McClung at was on the actual roster. And the reason they gave him 2 years, a non-guaranteed contract, is to sweeten the deal for him to come to the Pacers and leave the Windy City Bulls, the G League team that he was with in camp. Okay? That's the reason for that. And so that's all that needs to be said. If you have any more questions, feel free to reach out to me on Twitter or email me, and I'll try to explain it a little bit more there. But they didn't have a lot of options there, Facci. Now let's get to his other question. I'll let you answer this one.
All right.
This team is so depleted with injured guards that our 3 bigs aren't looking so bad right now. If this team comes around with the return of Drew, Mathurin, and McConnell, do you think the front office should look to trade for a center?
If this team comes around, I mean, what's coming around when you're 1-7? You know, it's going to be tough. But I don't think that they should force a trade just to make like a playoff push. I know sometimes you could say, "What are you talking about? Isn't the goal to win?" Like it definitely is. But if you know that you're not gonna really make some noise, I wouldn't start to become buyers. I think if the right player long term is the fit for the next few years becomes available, like when you brought up Jaren Jackson Jr. earlier, like if a player like that comes along, go for it, because that's not about just winning this year. But don't make a move that's just geared for this year, because I think that there's players that could still contribute moving forward that you don't want to just to trade. So my answer would be just figure out the players that you already have this year. And you know what, if you're in it, you know, continue to ride it out, but it's not about this year. And I know that might not be the answer everybody wants to hear, but like, don't just force a move to win 5 more games if it means that you're losing, like, you know, a player of any sort of value.
Yeah, I mean, I think you just got to handle it slowly and cautiously. Don't rush to make a trade. Don't rush to do anything. I mean, There's just too many injuries going on right now that you want to just kind of escape this season healthy.
That's what I'm saying.
I don't want to invest in too much, especially without knowing what Tyrese is going to look like coming back. I think that is like a big factor we haven't really discussed a lot. Like I think everybody kind of just expects Tyrese to be back to his normal form, right? But I don't know. I'm a little bit hesitant to say like it's going to be right away. I think it's going to probably be like the beginning of 2027 before we really start to see Halliburton into form, which is like another 13, 14 months away. But I just think that it might take him some time in the first part of the season to get his feet wet. And like, look how long it's taken IJax Jackson to kind of get his feet wet too. Now Halliburton will probably have a much longer time to rehab as well.
Like almost 16 months he'll have, which is crazy.
But he just does more than IJax does with his legs, right? And like he's already had previous injuries in the lower tissue areas with the hamstring, with the calf strain, things like that. So you just really got to be careful with Tyrese, and hopefully that this surgery does make him stronger. But it's like if he tears it again, I mean, his career might be done. So
I mean, we can't even talk about a re-tear. I mean, just like, oh man,
I'm just saying, like,
see him moving around the way he is, and some of the stuff that he's doing.
You see, he got drug tested. You see that he posted that for dunking the ball. He got drug tested.
It's crazy, but yeah, no. Seeing some of that stuff, him dunking a ball and stuff, it's an incredibly encouraging sign when he still has, like 11 months until he returns to the court. It's awesome to see. So
yeah. All right, well, everybody, this is gonna wrap it up for part 2 of the mailbag. If anything, which could have happened, roster-wise, happened to the Pacers, we are recording this on Thursday, November 6th. So I should have probably said that at the beginning, but if you're curious, like, why are they talking about this when that's already been different now? They've already changed something up, whatever. It's because we're recording this on Thursday, November 6th, and we're pre-recording this mailbag. So you're listening to the mailbag on Tuesday. Part 3 will be on Thursday. So like I said, if anything timely comes up, you might hear me at the intro kind of change something up from what our conversation was. But for the most part, these mailbags are going to be answered a week before you hear them. So I just want to give you guys that caveat. With that being said, Facci, if you're hoping the Pacers can get a win tonight against the Utah Jazz, then hit me with those 3 zones.
Let's go Pacers.